Well, I don't know what muse came and visited me in my 7th decade. These poems are kind of a surprise to me, and maybe they'll be a surprise to you. We'll see. My first poem, Danger. Living in the Gulf of Grace on Calamity's coast, an accidental angel brought the whirlwind. We used to be jugglers in our jazz jeans, keeping our balls in the air, expecting to be spared on the freeway to life. Mermaid. She is a water being. He lives on land. A fisherman who dangled his bait in the reed patch where she swam. She flashed her breasts. She met his eyes. She smiled and gulped the worm that hid the barb. She thrashed against his pull. She slapped her tail. She dove and broke the line. She split her lip. Her home is water still. His is land. She is part fish. He is a man. At the quaking bog. Peat, 3,000 years deep. Ask for what you need, she told him, as they leaned against the bridge rail, looking down. Touch, he said, speaking of his wife. She pointed to the frog's incendiary eyes. They passed into the inverse world, and there, touch is what they had. That other world they borrowed, reflected in those eyes. Musician of love. Your fingers pluck my ring-ting, tingle-tangle taut strings, taut, struck, strummed, pulled off and hammered on, and ooh, how you slide those lonely chords right down my tight red wires and bruise my deep blue heart. The way you do, yes you do, the way you play me, jingle jangle punctuated, tick-tock tin-tam time, rippling arpeggios right through each guilty note of oh and oh no, and don't do that, tip-tip, tap-tap anymore. Diddly-do, boo, through every gin, jive, jingle jangle nerve. Don't stop. Skip, skip, syncopated beat, your tap-tap time on my, oh no. Yes, yes, no, no, heart. Starstruck. Now this one, I go kind of for rhythm in my poems, and kind of a emotional, gutsy kind of thing, but this is a prose poem, so it's completely different. But on the other hand, similar. Starstruck. If someone were to look in from the street, they would see me blazoned in artificial light. I flaunt my bosom to those sidewalk gawkers. A woman in her prime, my brassiere bucking up my breasts. To be frank, I've no secrets that have not been explored. A small crowd has gathered near my window, under a sky blotted out by the ambient light of street lamps, lit windows, passing cars. You can't see them. You have to assume stars from prior knowledge, as I assume sidewalk gawkers are forming a crowd to admire me in my glory. Think Rita Hayworth in Gilda, or think Madonna in Evita. Perception is tricky. Assume more men, like stars, join the others looking at my window. This isn't any keyboard I'm playing. It's Brahms' second on a Steinway Grand. A gust from the open casement blows away my score. I rise to close the window. Outside, the men stand in clumps under the trees, murmuring with the leaves. My name is Emmeline, I shout. Can't you see you're trampling my flowers? And worst of all, you're all too late. Drop off. Leaning on faith, I back to the edge of the cliff, trusting you to belay me. But I know it is not you who will hold me. You will let the rope slide as I step into thin air. Let the rope sing. Let me fall fast and land hard. It's a matter of setting the piton, running the line through the carabiner, leaning back over the drop, kicking off against the cliff, relying on my body's friction against the rope to ease me down, trusting I set the piton and not depend on you. When I land on my feet on the scree and look up where the cliff edge meets the sky, I know I am free to love you or not. Flocking. This is a poem it's really one of my very first poems when I turned to writing poetry when I think maybe 25 years ago. And it's a poem that I've rewritten many times. But it's the joy in what seems like a really awesome experience in nature. Flocking. I hope this is the final version. They come chattering over wind-shorn hills, leaderless dervish bands, joining, splitting, somersault outside in, inside out, elastic margins stretch and shrink in swirling moire motion. How hungry the earth, the way she draws them down into her open mouth. Around the pond, they leaf the bracken black. Cohorts jeer, flush up, furious, trading roosts. At last, wings shut, they settle for night. Then, whoomph! Earth spits them out, multitudes like shrapnel, vermilion shoulders, winking wounds, brewers, red-winged, tricolored blackbirds, flocking in winter at Point Reyes. Love. All the wide day, every titillated nerve turns toward you as the compass follows the sun. The flower can't help what it does. Radiantly orange is the oriole. I pull aside the leaves to show you the tender jack and the May apple bloom hidden beneath its overtopping leaves. Then the swollen belly of the yellow lady slipper. I can't believe I'm here with you, strolling beside the wild geraniums. Thank you very much.